On Monday, May 6, 2013, Vice President Biden held a meeting with religious leaders where he announced that the next push for gun control will begin this fall after the immigration bill debates are over. Those present for the meeting included Franklin Graham, son of the evangelist Billy Graham, and Barrett Duke, the Vice President of the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission, which is the Southern Baptist Convention's public policy arm. According to Politico, 5 people who attended the 2.5-hour meeting stated that Biden made the specific plea to those present to keep his words off the record from reporters. What the administration is doing here is preparing the ground by ensuring that church leaders are cooperative when these new policies are put forth this fall. Now, if this is surprising to you, you may want to research the Clergy Response Teams, which is a homeland security program employing thousands of pastors across the nation to ensure cooperation during situations where martial law is declared. The new gun control push will start by focusing on more comprehensive background checks and will most likely include changes in the law to ensure that anyone on a terrorist watch list will be blocked from purchasing a firearm. This isn't just speculation. We know from statements from Rahm Emanuel dating back to 2007 that this has been planned for years.
And I think the most simple thing we can do, and we've got to make this a #1 issue as a test vote and then take it into the election, that is, if you are on the no-fly list because you are known as maybe a possible terrorist, you cannot buy a handgun in America. And I am not one far from liking the mixing of politics and policy, but as my old boss used to say, give me that vote and throw me into that briar patch. I'll make politics out of that every day, because if it's between that terrorist list and the NRA, I know where America's going to be every time, and they're going to make the right choice. We have got to start building on that. That is the right thing to take into the election. It's the right policy. If you're on that no-fly list, your access to the right to bear arms is canceled because you're not part of the American family.
Thousands of Americans are already on the terrorist watch list. There's no way to find out whether you're on the list, why you may be on it, or whether you've been removed. The recent IRS scandal where the government admitted that it targeted activists intentionally, and the cases we've seen where anti-war activists have been placed on terrorist watch lists, makes it very clear that such systems can and will be abused politically. Now, if you happen to believe that the government's real motives here are to reduce gun violence as they claim, you might want to research Operation Fast and Furious, in which the Obama administration was caught smuggling thousands of weapons to Mexican drug cartels. These guns were used in murders both in Mexico and in the United States, and the scandal only came to light after an ATF agent blew the whistle. That agent was then fired. Obama has personally assisted in the cover-up by refusing to hand over documents related to the operation. There are several layers to the gun control battle that's coming this fall. The first layer is, of course, the context. It's doubtful that there's enough political will to get such measures passed right now. The administration's attempt to capitalize on the Sandy Hook tragedy fell apart, and there's no way to rebuild that momentum without another event. They need a new tragedy in the next several months to provide the justification for new laws that they want to pass. Thing is, when the US government needs a tragedy, these things have a way of happening. The second layer is the resistance that's playing out on the individual state level, where we've seen Texas, Missouri, and Alabama pass legislation nullifying federal gun control laws. Eric Holder, who was directly involved in both Operation Fast and Furious and the IRS scandal, has fired back stating that the feds will ignore state laws and enforce the regulations one way or another. This could lead to a very interesting showdown. The third layer is the resistance coming from scores of sheriffs and thousands of military personnel who've spoken out stating that they will resist any attempts at gun confiscation and will refuse to enforce unconstitutional gun laws. Though publicly those promoting gun control have maintained that confiscation isn't in the works, California has just passed a law allocating $24 million to fund their confiscation program, and New Jersey senators got caught recently chatting among themselves, not realizing that the mic was still on, stating very clearly that confiscation was the goal. The strategy here is simple. Take away the rights incrementally, and when resistance is met on a national level, proceed on the state level. The final layer of this battle comes on a personal level as individual citizens refuse to comply. This in itself is a force to be reckoned with, especially with the advent of 3D printing. The first stage in this conflict has already started after plans for a fully printable gun were released on the internet this past month. The feds ordered the site to take the plans down, but it was too late. These plans are already distributed in torrent sites and have thousands of seeders. You'll find a download link to the plans in the description. Now, this publicly released file was for a single-shot .38 caliber. However, the same method was also used to create a lower receiver for a fully functional AR-15, and it was successfully tested with 600 rounds without failure. Though the 3D printer files for this gun were taken down before making it to torrents, the CAD files which they are based on are still available for download. You can find a link to that file in the description as well. Converting these files to 3D printer files has already been done once, and it will obviously be done again. All of this clearly shows that gun control will not be possible with an open internet, so you can count on this being used as an excuse for further attempts to introduce new laws in this regard as well. In financial news, The Department of Homeland Security has now targeted Bitcoin by restricting the transfer of funds in and out of MTGOX. MTGOX currently handles 60% of all Bitcoin to mainstream currency transactions. In science news, researchers have discovered that plants are able to communicate with each other through underground fungal networks. Such communication is apparently used to help plant communities produce chemicals to ward off pests such as aphids. Commodity prices for those interested: oil is at $94.65 a barrel, gold is at $13.67 an ounce, and silver is at $22.47 an ounce. In channel news, I want to thank everyone who's sent donations over the past several months. We've used the money to buy recording software, to buy royalty-free music for videos, video animations, proper microphone and a recording interface, and a small Wacom tablet for graphics. That's a big part of what's enabled us to step up the quality and the quantity of what we've been putting out. We are still working on the full-length documentary. The narration is recorded, and about 40 minutes of the music has been written, and we've started on the animations. The video is over 2 hours long, which is far bigger than anything we've ever done in the past, so it's a massive project, and we severely underestimated how much time it would take. It's worth noting that initially we planned to make the documentary only an hour long. Also, for those interested, we are planning on bringing back the live show, but reconfigured. We needed to take a step back and rethink what we were doing. If you're on a boat and you're not going in the direction you want to go, you've got to adjust the sails. If this is a message you feel the public needs to hear, then be sure to like, favorite, and share this video through as many avenues as possible. If you want more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to this channel, Storm Clouds Gathering, on YouTube. For updates and bonus content, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/StormCloudsGathering, on Twitter at Collapse Updates, and our website, stormcloudsgathering.com.